judges strongly believing that his physique and likeness would push the classic physique division to heights we couldn't predict. And in a way, they weren't just believing in Kris, but they were investing in him. And boy, would that investment pay off. It's 2020, and the legend of CBum has been growing rapidly, with the fan pages becoming more and more prevalent, as there was a growing admiration for his physique, and all eyes were on him now. Despite being the new champ, Kris probably didn't feel like it, because he still had a lot to prove. His back had not seen the significant improvement that the fans were expecting since his first Olympia appearance. In fact, Kris had been showing marginal improvement over the years, with Kris having a weight cap of 230 and the sentiment that he was a champion with lagging body parts, the pressure was on during the offseason.
Yeah, but I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go here because this is my damn channel.
You do whatever you want.
Okay, I'm going to go here.
Yeah.
So, there should never be a Mr. Olympia that lacks anywhere. You should never call a Mr. Olympia that lacks in body parts anywhere. Every Mr. Olympia should have a complete, balanced physique and not lack body parts. I'm gonna go there.
Kris had heard the criticism, he heard the hate, and he and Ian got to work. People who followed Kris's prep into the 2020 Olympia saw that he wasn't prepping like a champion. He was prepping like an underdog, like a dog without a bone. Like he was trying to become champion rather than repeat. A mentality that fueled the massive improvements he made heading into the 2020 Olympia. Kris, understanding that he was a reigning champ, also understood that he needed to do everything he could to prioritize his health. Despite his love for bodybuilding, he also wanted to live a fulfilling and healthy life outside of the sport, which is why after consulting his physician, Kris began looking for supplements that could help him optimize his health, which is how he stumbled upon Revive MD. Revive MD is a health and wellness company founded by Matt Jansen and Dr. Dominic Icavone, two well-respected people in the bodybuilding and health and wellness space. With their products and brand mission aligning with Kris's needs, he started using their products and very quickly fell in love with the brand and what they were doing in the industry. So, due to mutual interests, Kris became a sponsored Revive athlete, bringing their brand and products to his millions of fans.
We did consult, I don't know if consult is the right word, but I'll just use it for the sake of discussion, with Kris Bumstead, who's one of our athletes, about this product, because Kris is somebody that by action and not just by spoken word truly does care about his health within the goals that he has. So we wanted to kind of bring a product out that would help support him throughout his phases of competition.
With the off-season underway, Kris and Ian placed a tremendous focus on building up Kris's back and biceps, the two areas he was weakest in, and boy was it showing.
I'm feeling really good. I've been feeling exceptional, and more importantly, I've been feeling excited, confident, and calm. And just that word excitement is a very powerful word for me, because it's a word I haven't felt in related to competing for 3 years now.
Every physique update heading into the show showed a much bigger and improved CBum. A CBum who, if he could win from the back, would become virtually unbeatable. In 2019, Kris promised that he would bring something the division had never seen. And to a certain extent, he did that. However, in 2020, Kris reminded people that he had promised to set the standard of what classic physique should be, and that he plans to stay true to that claim.
When I came in last year and you asked me this similar question, I told you classic physique hadn't found someone who had set the standard of what it was meant to look like. And that was my goal last year. I wanted to come in, and I believe because it was such a new division, it was still searching for someone to be at the top, someone for the young kids coming up, that they wanted to strive towards that standard classic physique look. I showed that last year, and I was young, and I was not complete, I was not 100%. This year I'm going to show an improved version of that, next year an improved version of that, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys what the standard of classic physique is, and what's going to be in the future, and I'm going to set it.
This declaration would become one of the signature slogans of his brand identity, and something that added to the allure of watching him step out on stage.
But this year's been different. I haven't been shutting down my emotions and telling myself I shouldn't be feeling things and I should shut down. I've been embracing it. When I feel fear, I feel it. I take a moment and I feel it and let myself sink into it, and then I try and analyze it. I'm like, what are you actually afraid of?
On the morning of December 18th, 2020, the prejudging for Classic Physique took place. Everyone, including myself, stopped everything we were doing to sit and watch the live stream, eagerly awaiting CBum's appearance. During the initial comparisons, the first batch of competitors came out, and then the second batch. And then came Chris in the final one, and your eyes could not go anywhere else. Chris drew your attention immediately as he towered over the rest of the competition and displayed eye-popping proportions and muscularity. It was the same physique as the year before, but with more muscle and equal conditioning. And then it happened. Chris turned around from behind to hit a back double bicep and shocked everyone with how much wider and thicker his back had gotten. These comparisons showed little detail as the camera was zoomed out to capture all of the competitors on stage, but you couldn't help but wonder, did I just see what I think I saw? The fans would find out during the individual routines when Chris would come out alone, where we would get to see him up close, and for those of us who had gotten to see him in 2019, this was a different C-bum. He maintained his beautiful lines, his beautiful shape, that signature vacuum, but he was thicker. And no moment would exemplify this more than when Chris turned around from behind and showed his back, and it was utterly jaw-dropping. To have made that kind of improvement in just 1 year was something most bodybuilders couldn't do in 3. His back wasn't just thicker and wider, but it was shredded. The potential that everyone thought Chris had was on full display, and it was evident that he had won before it even truly started, and he knew it. During the first call-out, Chris was immediately moved to one of the top spots, next to, you guessed it, Breon Ainsley, who had come in bigger but not as sharp as 2019. However, even if he was as sharp, it wouldn't have mattered because Chris finally beat Breon from the back. Well, actually, he dominated him for the first time in his career. With Breon being the main contender and Terrence Ruffin being in the mix but not close, neither of them stood a shot at the title. It was Chris's to lose after prejudging, and he held strong.
Prejudging this morning, just locked in and focused and taking the day, and it couldn't have gone any better. I really don't think it could have gone any better. I woke up looking great this morning. Every week was perfect, and prep was just amazing. Backstage, I was just in the zone. I didn't see anyone else around me. It just felt like it was just me out there posing, trying to do my thing, being better than last year, and it just felt right.
During the finals, Chris came back and put together his best posing routine thus far, and cemented his victory in the final comparison while knocking off Breon for the second time. Breon would fall to third place, while Terrence Ruffin would leapfrog him into second. Chris was officially a 2-time Classic Physique champion, and this one was indisputable. Chris was slowly becoming bigger than the bodybuilding niche as a whole and reaching an even broader fitness audience. Gym bros, fangirls, and hardcore bodybuilding fans all knew the name C-Bum. Even if you weren't into the gym but could relate to Chris, you had likely become a fan.
The day I'm built like Chris Bumstead is the day it's over for you hoes. I don't know what it means by over, but that's kind of scary. I don't know if you're coming after them in what way, but if you're built like me one day, then I'm just worried that I'm going to be losing the Olympia. So hopefully the hoes are safe and I'm safe on the Olympia stage.
Despite all the fame and attention he was receiving, Chris stayed true to himself. He remained the humble, down-to-earth champion who just enjoyed life and doing what he loved. There became very little doubt that if you took away the fame, he would still be competing.
You like it? What do you think? Should I keep it? Does it look good? You don't like it? I think I could rock a... What is this called?
I don't know, bikers up here? You have it, you're a fucking beauty, and I respect the idiot. Now we're gonna...
The division as a whole just kept growing, with the competition chasing Chris, a feat that seemed insurmountable. It was back to business for Chris and Ian heading into the 2021 Olympia, but C-Bum's dominance had the effect that most dominant forces have: improved competition. There were some young names buzzing throughout the industry that many thought could make the next Olympia at least very interesting, but the anticipation, although great, was not as high as in previous years. Chris was head and shoulders above the rest of the division, and as long as he didn't get complacent, he could dominate for the foreseeable future. On the business end, Chris was continuing to grow his Sebum Fitness website with a small collection of merch that was selling out very quickly, with his Thabbage t-shirts being the hottest selling item on his website due to the word making light of Chris's pronounced lisp, another characteristic about him that humanizes his larger-than-life image. He was also continuing to grow his Sebum Fitness app, which allowed you to follow Chris's workout program and had functionality to track your progress. 1 month out from the show, Chris announced that he and Jack's Factory were parting ways after 2 years of working together. At the time, they had just released the Sebum series, which would remain intact after his departure. But the most interesting part about his departure was that Chris was not leaving with the intention of signing a contract or being an athlete for another brand, implying that he was going to be going into his own venture, something which made sense given the magnitude of his name and his personal brand.
I am going to be leaving Jack Factory. I will no longer be sponsored athlete by Jack Factory, and it's a tough decision I had to make. I didn't think this was going to happen, at least not for years to come, because I had